Okay, not sure how many of you caught this, but number 10 is just a duplicate of problem number 9. Sorry about that. Don't know how that happened. But, so what did we get for that last one? Was it 11.3, I believe? Yep. So that one's the same as number 9. Save yourself some work. Okay, let's draw a picture for number 11. A flagpole on level ground. So here's my flagpole. Okay. Casts a shadow 11 meters long. So this down here is its shadow, and the shadow is 11 meters. When the sun is 26 degrees up from the horizon. So what that means is that the sun is over here someplace. Okay? And it's shining down like that, and where the sun rays meet the horizon, which would be right here, okay, that angle is 26 degrees. And what I am looking for here is the height of the flagpole. So I'm looking for this. Hopefully that picture makes sense to you. So looking at my 26-degree angle, that X is the opposite side because it's directly across from the 26. And this side here would be my adjacent side. It's not the hypotenuse, so it has to be the adjacent. So O and A, that's TOA from SOHCAHTOA, otherwise known as tangent. So I would say tan of 26 is equal to opposite over adjacent, so that would be X over 11. Okay, from my calculator, tan of 26 is 0.4877 equals X over 11. Put this over 1 and cross multiply those two. And I get, about 5.4. And this is in meters. Nearest tenth of a meter. Yep, so I'm rounding to 1 decimal place. And I know that's my final answer because my other side of my cross multiplying x times 1 would just equal x. Okay? Okay, number 12 is one of our ship problems. So these ones you kind of want to at least picture, and I really recommend that you draw it, a directional grid. Okay. So here's north, south, east, and west. So we're heading 85 kilometers north, and so 85 north, and 194 east. So this is 194. Okay, so 85 north, 194 east. I hope that's okay to see. And what I am looking for okay, I redrew that so it was a little bit easier to see. What I am looking for is if the ship travels directly from here to here, what angle will it have to leave from? Okay, as soon as I say the words what angle, I want you to be thinking inverse trig. Remember, inverse trig, like sine -1, tan -1, cosine -1. Those are what you use anytime you're looking for an angle. And from this angle, this 194 is the opposite side, and the 85 is the adjacent side. So I know this is going to be tangent. I would set up tan of x, because that's the angle is what I don't know, that's your x, is equal to 194 over 85. And then in your calculator, I would type in tan -1 of that fraction, 194 divided by 85. Let me do that real quick. And I end up with 66.3 degrees. But that's only part of my answer. Okay, 66.3 degrees, but it says, it's asking for the direction. So this told me how much I should turn, but the direction wants to know, do I go east of north, south of west? What do I do? So and I know some of us were struggling with this during class. I'm going to try to explain it again, and hopefully that'll help. My original direction, the way I drew this picture, my original direction that I started out in was north. Okay? So if I had just gone north, I would say that I'm going north. That's it. But then I'm turning towards the east. So I'm going east of that original north path. I started out going north. I ended up turning towards the east. So I'm going east of north. And I would have to include that as part of my answer if I wanted full credit. Okay? As far as how far will the ship travel, let's look at this as just a triangle. So now I've taken it off the grid, and I know this is 85. I know this is 194 to the east, and I'm looking for this distance, which I'm going to call x. This is just a basic Pythagorean theorem problem. So if I use Pythag, that would be 85 square, that's messy, hold on. Okay, let's try this again a little neater. I've got 85 squared plus 194 squared is going to equal x squared. So 85 squared plus 194 squared, I end up with 44,861 equals x squared. Take a square root, take a square root. I end up with about 211.8. And that is in kilometers. And again, our answer to number 1, or part A, I can see got erased. So that was 66.3 degrees east of north. Okay, let's get through these next ones. Again, I see right here that these are asking for exact values. Okay, exact values are right off of the unit circle, and I don't have a unit circle here in front of me that I can show you with, but hopefully you can kind of look at yours as a guide. 135 degrees is going to be directly across from the 45 degree mark. It's in the second quadrant, so on your circle, 45 is over here, 135 is over here. So we know their tangents are going to be the same, except over here in this quadrant, tangents are negative. So tan of 45 is square root of 2 over 2. That means tan of 135 is negative. Oh, I'm sorry. Tan of 135. Tangent of 45 would be 1. Okay. Let me see if I can get rid of that. Oh, why does it keep? Okay, let's try that again. Sorry about that. For tangent, I was thinking sine. Again, it is going to match up still with the 45 degree mark. So you've got your 3 there, you've got your 3 there. 135 is located right here. The tangent of 45 is 1. So if you go over to the second quadrant, remember your tangent's going to stay the same except it would be negative. So this would be negative 1. Okay. Sine of negative 225, that means you're going 225 degrees around this way, which the trick I showed you was just to find 225, which would be right down here, and then just go straight up from there. And that actually lands you right at the same place. Negative 225 is equal to 135. The other way you could do that is you could do 360 minus 225. Okay, should land you at 135. Either way, your coordinates here, again, are going to match that 45 degree, the coordinates for 45 degrees, which are square root of 2 over 2 and square root of 2 over 2. Over here in this quadrant, they're going to be exactly the same, except the x-coordinate will be negative. And if I'm looking for sine, sine is my second coordinate. So this one would be positive square root of 2 over 2. Okay, cosine of 180. Let's use my little diagram here. Cleaned it up some there for you. 180 degrees is going to be right here, and the coordinates there are negative 1, 0. So the cosine is the first coordinate, so here this is negative 1. So again, this would be negative 1, this would be square root of 2 over 2, Cosine of 180 would be -1. Okay, let's get on to this word problem down here. Okay, so they've already set up my picture for me, which is kind of nice, and I'm solving for x here. I noticed that it's not a right triangle, so I'm not going to be able to use SOHCAHTOA. That means I'm using either law of sines or law of cosines. And I can't use law of sines because I don't have a complete pair anywhere. I don't have an angle and a side pair that are totally filled in. Okay, so I am using law of cosines here. For that, I would call this side A. So I'm ignoring how they have this labeled. Okay, I'm calling this side A because that's what I'm trying to find, which means I'm going to rename this angle A. Okay, and then here's my formula, and you will be given this formula on the test tomorrow. C squared 2. Okay, sorry, I ran out of room a little there. So A is what I don't know. It's my x. I could either leave it as a squared or I could fill it in as x squared. It doesn't really matter. B and C are just my other two sides, and it doesn't matter which is which. So I'm going to have 120 squared plus 200 squared minus 2 times 120. Sorry, I'm going to have to finish this down here. Times 200 times cosine of 100. Okay, and I'm sorry, that's kind of all over the place, but really you see it's 120 squared plus 200 squared minus 2 times 120 times 200 times cosine of 100. And that, because this is all numbers, all of this is just numbers, can go straight into your calculator. And I would type it all in at once. I saw some of you on your quiz trying to do it in chunks. When it's all numbers like that, and specifically when you have an angle measure here that you can fill in, I would just type it in all at one time. You'll avoid making mistakes. When I do that, I end up with x squared, and this is what I was saying in class, is that if you do that and then just end up with a number and you don't know what to do with it, make sure you're keeping it in an equation form, because if you do, you'll end up with x squared equals this giant number, 62,735. And there's some decimals there. Let's just say 0.11. And if you're not sure what to do with it, when you see this, hopefully this is a red flag that you're going to have to take a square root of that. And I end up with about 250.5. And looking at my other numbers here, 120 and 200, 250 sounds like it makes sense. And it's going to be the longest side because it is across from the longest angle. So here for number 16, it would be 250.5 yards.